Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Steve Givens. I am the executive director of the Bridges Foundation in St. Louis. We offer an experience of the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius Loyola in everyday life. It's called the Bridges Retreat. And once a month, we have conversations with just friends and scholars sometimes, and authors and people who work with us. Um, this afternoon, we'll be speaking with Sister Amy Diesen. And Sister Amy is the regional director of the Ignatian Volunteer Corps. You'll hear our shorthand for that, IVC, here in St. Louis. IVC offers semi-retired and retired men and women the opportunity to serve people who are poor and disadvantaged, and at the same time to have a way to come together and to pray and to reflect about those experiences as a small community. So as they continue to grow spiritually. So we're going to be talking about that program today, both its origins nationally and regionally. And so welcome, Sister Amy.
Well, thanks, Steve. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today.
You're welcome. I've been involved myself in IVC for the past, 7 or 8 years now.
Yes.
As a spiritual reflector. That means I'm one of the people that helps your core
members
help them reflect on their experiences of doing this. So, and I'm a member of your advisory board too. So happy to be here. Happy to talk to you. We're going to begin as we always do. If you could just tell us a little bit about you, your family of origin, your background, how you got. There's an OSF after your name, which we'll let you talk about what that means and when you came to that, and also when along the way you became aware of and Ignatian spirituality and the spiritual exercises, how you yourself came to that experience. So
sure.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I grew up over in Illinois, in a little town called Germantown. And most people go, why does Germantown, Illinois sound familiar? And if you're here in St. Louis, it's because that's where Red Shanings is from. So then people go, oh, Red Shanings. So that's my claim to fame. I never met him, but that's how I get people to realize where Germantown is.
There you go.
So after high school, I joined the Army, and I did that for a while. I served in the active duty Army and in the Army Reserves. And when I got near the end of that, I found myself wondering what to do and how to be and who to be. So much longer story, but somehow I ended up connecting with the Franciscan Sisters of Our Lady of Perpetual Help and our mother house. Well, we don't have a mother house, but our administrative offices are in Kirkwood. Really, I called them because they were close, and I was like, who are you? And so just through some meetings and invitations, I kept joining them for things. And the next thing I know, I'm living with them and professing vows. And here I am all these years later in a very happy place with them.
How long have you been a sister?
Well, let's see. 2012 was first vows. But there was time before that where I connected with the community. I lived with the community, just the different phases that you go through in kind of becoming a part of the community, learning about the community learning about you. It's a mutual discernment. So it takes away, it's a life commitment. And, you go through the steps like you would with any relationship and learn about each other. Once I went through the novitiate, I was given the opportunity to go back to study, and I studied at Aquinas Institute of Theology here in St. Louis, and I received a Master of Arts in Pastoral Studies. And then I went to work in parishes for about 5 years. And after that, I got involved with the Ignatian Volunteer Corps. So I like to tell people that I'm a Franciscan educated by Dominicans working for Jesuits. So I have a well-rounded spirituality. So that's a little bit of my background.
Yeah. And where along the way did you first become aware of or experience the spiritual exercises?
So I really didn't experience them or know anything about them until I took the position with IVC. And, I was at a point in life where I was looking for a different ministry. And I saw that the Ignatian Volunteer Corps was looking for a new director. And I'm like, well, that looks all right, but I don't really know about this Ignatian stuff. So I just kind of put it to the side and just kept looking. And then another sister in my community said, I know what you can do here. And she gave me the position description for IVC. And I had looked at it again and I'm like, this really is kind of in my wheelhouse of doing adult faith formation. I had done a lot of RCIA and parishes and just journeyed with the older community in a parish and thought, well, maybe. And that was the same summer. I think it was the same summer that the movie Pope Francis, A Man of His Word, came out. And that was a very powerful, it was so good. I went to see it twice. It was in the theater, the Frontenac Theater. And I was like, wow. So I was feeling pretty inspired by what Pope Francis was doing. And I thought, well, maybe there is something to this Ignatian spirituality. So I went ahead and I applied and they called me for an interview. And I said, I don't know much about Ignatian spirituality. They were okay with that. So I got the job and that's when I started learning about Ignatian spirituality. That's a lot of when I realized that Ignatian spirituality isn't that different from Franciscan spirituality. It just, my way of looking at it is sometimes that I see the Ignatian and Franciscan spirituality very similar. It's just that Francis was an artist and had that free artist spirit, and Ignatius was a soldier, and he ordered it a little more differently. So that's how I see it. Everybody's open to their interpretation of how they see it, but it really is about this relationship with Christ and then living that out in your life, discovering how your footsteps are going to line up with Christ's footsteps. So that's when I came across Ignatian spirituality. I started the position in this August of 2018. So I had a full year. Then we started the 2019-2020 year. And well, that's when a lot of things changed.
Yes.
So kind of walked through this pandemic with a group of older folks, and we all learned how to Zoom and do Sign Up Genius and stay connected through that. And in leading a group like this, our monthly meetings involve some sort of spiritual formation. So I kept learning about spirituality and Ignatian spirituality. And with my own work with my spiritual director, we decided maybe I should go through the spiritual exercises. So I did. I had a spiritual director. I didn't do this through Bridges, but he and I worked together for about 7 or 8 months. And it was a really incredible journey. There's challenges, there's joys, there are realizations, there's letting go, there's growing. And it's done in a very structured and special way. And for me, it was another step closer with Jesus. Like you have a friend and then you have a best friend and you have that friend you can really talk to, those different levels of a relationship with a person. And the exercises, I think they can provide a way for somebody to really get into that. And
Yeah.
so,
Right.
yeah,
Thank you for
that, yeah.
All right. Well, let's launch into a little bit more about the IVC. Can you tell us, just give us some basic background and history nationally? You know, how did this movement and when did this movement come about, and out of what kind of need it had? Yes.
Sure. So the Ignatian Volunteer Corps was started by two Jesuits from the East Coast, Jim Conroy and Charlie Costello. So, and Father Jim was the novice director out on the East Coast. And he had a parents' weekend for the young men who were in formation. And during that meeting, he described that all these young men were doing, the prayer they were doing, the service they were doing, the community experiences they were having, the formation experiences they were having. And when he got through telling them all the things that their sons were doing, this dad raised his hand and just said, you know, I'm retiring soon, and I'd really like something like this. What do you got for me? And he said, but, you know, I don't want your vows. I want this life where you serve, you pray, you're in community, you know, just this really deepening relationship through this particular lifestyle. And Father Jim said in that moment, he knew what his next project would be. And it would be to start a program that involves those really important aspects of our faith. And, you know, even with the RCIA, we form people in prayer, in worship, in service, and in community. So it really is grounded in who we say we are. And so he started this program in 1995. So it's been around a little while. And, you know, with just a handful of volunteers, it has grown. And so we're now in 20 regions across the United States. And there are close to 600 Service Corps members and close to 300 partner sites throughout the United States. Here in St. Louis, we have, you know, we've been here since 2006 when a similar thing, a small group of folks got together and helped bring this idea alive in St. Louis. So here in St. Louis, we've been around, like I said, about 17 years. We have 39 IVC Service Corps members, about 21 partner sites, and I have about 22 spiritual reflectors like yourself, Steve, as part of the IVC community. And again, we focus on the main areas of service, prayer and reflection, and community. Just, you know, some examples of the partner sites that we have. We work with nonprofit agencies who serve the needs of those who are poor and experiencing marginalization in the St. Louis community. So, you know, we work with criminal justice ministry. We're at St. Ignatius Hall, which is the Jesuits retirement community. I have a service member with the Rural Parish Clinic for the Archdiocese. We serve with the Franciscan Connection in South City, as well as St. Anthony's Food Pantry. We are at LifeWise St. Louis, which is formerly Kingdom House. In North City, we're at St. Augustine Wellston Center. We have people at Guardian Angels Settlement. You know, we work with some in some education and legal areas like Our Lady of Guadalupe School. We work with Catholic Charities, their St. Francis Community Services branch with the Catholic Legal Assistance Ministry and the Southside Center. So let's see, we have quite a few in different schools. So we're at Marion Middle School, we're at St. Francis Cabrini Academy, we're at the St. Louis Catholic Academy. We've also just recently partnered with Claver House in North City, and we work with Our Lady's Inn. So that pretty much captures a lot of our agencies.
So tell me a little bit more about who these people are who do this work. You know, what kind of backgrounds do they come from,
Oh, goodness.
and
Sure.
what kind of work are they doing and how often? How does the program work?
How does the program work? So an IVC member, I'll tell you what they commit to. They commit to doing 8 to 16 hours of service with one of our partner agencies. They commit to doing
each week,
each
right?
week.
Yeah.
For each week for 10 months from September through June. So 8 to 16 hours each week, September through June. They commit to their own private personal reflection on their service experiences. They are asked to sit with a spiritual reflector and do one-on-one conversations about their experiences. And then we gather as a community once a month, and they share their experiences with each other, kind of that peer support that they get. So that's kind of in a nutshell what they do. But as far as the folks who are at different agencies, just some of the stories I know that, you know, we have somebody who serves at Our Lady's Inn. And last year she helped one of the women who came there as a client get her GED. And, you know, that can be life-changing for some folks. I have people who have finance backgrounds who are tutoring, you know, budgeting classes for kids in 4th, 5th grade at one of our schools. We have folks at Criminal Justice Ministry who help those who are about to be released from prison in their transition process, the steps they have to go through before they're released. Let's see, you know, we have a lot of tutors, a lot of adults who go into school and they tutor. You know, I have some folks with strong math backgrounds and they're always looking for assistance in math. I have another person who has a background in finance who's helping one of our partner agencies really develop their financial plan. And, you know, how can we grow financially? So it's really a wide variety. I have an attorney who's serving with Catholic Legal Assistance Ministry, just helping with their caseload. I have somebody who's bilingual, who's also at Catholic Legal Assistance Ministry, helping with the translation processes that need to happen. So those are some of the things
people have in common, or why are they doing this? Do you think?
You know, and kind of when I start meeting with someone who is interested in the Ignatian Volunteer Corps, there are kind of keywords that they will say. Things like, I've been very blessed in my life and I just want to give back. And so they just have this desire to go out and serve and advance people in the community who may be a little marginalized or oppressed, and kind of walk with them and bring them up a little. So, yeah.
Nice. How do you go about recruiting new folks who might want to get involved in this? Is there a recruitment period, or is it ongoing?
You know,
go ahead. Sorry.
So for the most part, the IVC year starts in September. So in the spring is usually when I'll send out notices to bulletins. And people will call me from their parish bulletin. Now, I saw this in the parish bulletin. And so we start meeting. In the spring, I usually do an information session for people. I had about 15 people come this past spring. It just kind of, people will just hear about us. I have some folks who come to us from White House Retreat. They will put some brochures in their packets for people who go to retreat there. Just a variety of ways that people hear about us, and then they connect with me and we have some conversations.
Right. So people are interested at this point. Are they going to be waiting till next year to
yeah, you know, sometimes we'll try and start people in January. So we'll go through a few months of getting connected and knowing each other and figuring out what kind of placement would be good. I have to have a position available. So even though it may say Criminal Justice Ministry and you're like, I really want to go there, I may not have a position available. We operate similar to, if you've heard of the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, that's for kids who come out of college, and their partner, they go to a site and there's a partnership fee that is exchanged to support the Jesuit Volunteer Corps program. Well, it's similar to that with the Ignatian Volunteer Corps. Our partnership fees aren't near what they are, but we do have that partnership fee to support the program. And
this is a fee that the agency pays to IVC to have a
Yes.
Right.
So I have to have a space available at an agency for someone who comes in. So usually what happens is if they are accepted into the program, I will give them a list of, here are the positions I have available. And, I don't ask people, imagine what your dream services would be. I say, here's the list of what people need or who needs to be served. What can you do? Can you stretch yourself to do one of these things?
Yeah. How would you, are there times when someone comes to you and it's clear they're not a good match for the program? What does it take to be a good Corps member, I guess?
A desire to grow, desire to give back to the community, to return the blessings God has given you through service. It takes an openness to grow, I would probably say, is a big thing. The IVC tagline is experience making a difference. And when I was first introduced to that, it was, you come to IVC with this just wealth of knowledge and experience. How will you use that to make a difference in society? But there's also the understanding of experience making a difference as you are going to have experiences that can make a difference in your life if you're open to the process, if you're open to the reflection that you do on this. I believe it was T.S. Eliot in his poem that said, we had the experience, but we missed the meaning. And so IVC is about helping you with a process, a reflection process under the umbrella of Ignatian spirituality that helps you not miss the meaning of what you're doing. You will have encounters with people who live challenged lives, who live lives that are marginalized and unfair. What do you do with that? So it's about entering into a process of, sometimes you can make changes and sometimes you can just be with them.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're running out of time. We had a couple viewers earlier, but they seem to have left us. So no questions out there. Couple ways to get in touch with you. This is a long URL here, but if you're interested in getting more information, you can go to this website, ivcusa.org/IVC-offices/ come meet IVC St. Louis. You could probably Google IVC St. Louis and that would come up. The key is to make it to the St. Louis part of the IVC national website. Easier than that, however, is to reach out and just email Sister Amy at ivcstl@Jesuits with an S on the end, Jesuits.org, and she could arrange a time to meet with you, to talk, to answer your questions. So, Sister Amy, any parting words you want to leave? This recording will go on to live on our Facebook page as well as the Bridges website. Anything you want to leave for those who might be considering this?
No, you could always, what's the Ignatian prayer for gratitude? Drawn a blank on it, but just Google the Ignatian prayer for gratitude if you need a little discernment prompt. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Good. We do have another episode of Bridges Conversation about a month from today on Thursday, October 12th at noon. I'll be talking with spiritual director and poet Clarence Heller. Clarence is the coordinator of the Moments of Grace and Prayer Retreat Ministry, which is a retreat in everyday life ministry that actually grew out of the Bridges program many years ago. And so we're going to be talking to Clarence about both the history and the future of that ministry. So join in there. If you want more information on the Bridges program and what we do, let me do this differently real quick. We would invite you to visit our own website, which is bridgesfoundation.org, or to reach out to me if you have any questions. So, Sister Amy, thank you. I look forward to seeing you again soon and being with some of the Corps members at some of your events coming up. I can't make the one coming up in October that you told me about, but I will be around. So,
all right.
Thank you very much. Hold on for just a minute. You and I will talk after the stream ends. Thanks to all of you who are listening or who will see this in the future. If you have questions, reach out to either one of us. Thanks, and we'll see you in October.